Hey everybody, it's Aaron and I'm back again. And so today I want to try to further break down the things that are taking place here soon that God has been telling us about. And so before we talked about how the rapture doctrine is false and that God is gathering his people and he's going to take us to the wilderness. And a lot of people didn't understand. And so I want to show you and further break it down so that maybe you can understand exactly what I'm saying. We're going to start right here at Micah 4 1 through 5.
But in the last days it shall come to pass, that the mountain of the house of the Lord shall be established in the top of the mountains, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow unto it. And many nations shall come and say, Come, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, and to the house of the God of Jacob. And he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among many people, and rebuke strong nations afar off. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. But they shall sit every man under his vine, and under his fig tree, and none shall make them afraid. For the mouth of the Lord of hosts hath spoken it. For all people will walk every one in the name of his God, and we will walk in the name of the Lord our God forever and ever. In that day, saith the Lord, will I assemble her that halteth, and I will gather her that is driven out, and her that I have afflicted. And I will make her that halted a remnant, and her that was cast far off a strong nation. And the Lord shall reign over them in Mount Zion from henceforth even forever. And thou, O tower of the flock, the stronghold of the daughter of Zion, unto thee shall it come, even the first dominion. The kingdom shall come to the daughter of Jerusalem.
And so from here, guys, we see the reestablishing of Israel. Now, like I've said, the people that we think are over there, those are not the people that God is talking about in the Bible. I can't get into it a lot on YouTube because if you say, the name of that people, they'll automatically say you're anti-Semitic. And so we won't get into that, but I do encourage you to look up who those people are. But from there, we can reference this scripture once again with the scripture that I started out with, which is Revelation 12 and 6, the woman.
And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she being with child cried, travailing in birth, and pained to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days.
And so we have the woman clothed with the sun. She has the moon under her feet. She has the 12 stars. From there, we know that we are going into the wilderness and God is going to hide us for 3.5 years. Now, I want to show you another scripture. And so with the rapture, many people use the scripture that I'm going to show you, which is right here. A lot of people use this scripture to say that we don't know the exact day that the Lord will come and rapture us up, but they do believe that this will happen before the tribulation takes place. And that, in fact, is not what the scripture is saying, because if you keep going, if we go to Matthew 24:37 through 39, we get this.
But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying, and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came, and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
And so if we look at the days of Noah, it says that they were living their lives. They were living their lives as usual, not knowing the flood was coming, and in fact it was on the way. This better fits with Matthew 24:36. No man knows the day or the hour when the Messiah will return. And I say that because in the last days, which is now, when God is calling to gather his people, many people will be drinking, many people will be marrying, giving in marriage, and they will not know that God has moved his people into the wilderness. And these things start to take place, they're not going to know what's going on or where these people are at. So we're going to go to Genesis 6:13.
And God said unto Noah, The end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. But with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou, and thy sons, and thy wife, and thy sons' wives with thee.
And in Genesis 6:18, we see that God, in fact, made a covenant of protection with Noah and his family. What was he protecting them from? The destruction that was going to take place. And that is very familiar to what he's doing for his people now. He promised us, through Jesus Christ, that we will be saved. In this scripture, that God called his people into the ark. And on this channel, we have been urging people, get into the kingdom, figure out the kingdom of heaven. It's spiritual right now. God is calling his people spiritually into his kingdom, because that is the secret place. That is where you meet God in prayer, fasting, reading, all those different things. God will give you wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the things that are happening in the world, just as he has given us. But he's telling people to get into my kingdom so that you can truly know who I am and truly understand the God of the Bible. And he's been showing us so much, but he called them into the ark. And so we've said that God said that it's going to be a time where God calls people into his kingdom. And so when you look at the woman in Revelation, it says that she fled to the wilderness, and that in fact will happen. God is going to call his people, just as he did in those days of Noah. He's going to call his people to head into the wilderness, guys. It's the same thing. As in Micah 4, God gathered the remnant in the last days. He gathered his people, which is once again the same thing that he's going to do yet again. And God told us, basically, once again, he told us those who hear by the Spirit and know him will hear the call when the time comes. Just like he did in Genesis 7:1, the Lord saw Noah righteous before that generation. There are still the people that are upholding righteousness, that are living righteous lives, and those are the people that will be called into his kingdom.
Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tares? He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servants said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, Nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them.
And so when we look at this parable right here, one of the parts that stuck out to me is let both of them grow together until the harvest. And at the time of the harvest, I will say to the reapers, gather first the tares, and bind them in bundles and burn them, but gather the wheat into the barn, which is just like the ark or the wilderness that God is going to gather us into. But if you look there, he said he's first going to gather the tares. And where is he going to be gathering them to? Revelation 16:15 through 16.
Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth, and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked, and they see his shame. And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon.
And right there we see that he's gathering the tares into the plain of Armageddon, where this war is going to take place, where he's going to destroy the Antichrist, the false prophet, and the devil in this war. And it says on the flip side that once again in Revelation 12:6, we are gathered into the wilderness, guys. And so now we can better understand the scripture that's in Matthew 24 verse 40. It says, Then shall there be two in the field, and one shall be taken, the other shall be left. 2 women shall be grinding at the mill, one shall be taken, the other shall be left. Once again, lastly, all I can say is this, guys. God will call, and those who know him will gather together in the secret place, which is the wilderness. Those who don't know God won't understand what is going on until it's too late. And the harvest is here. And with the harvest comes destruction of the tares and everything else that's corruptible in this world. And it says that God will repay them with death. And guys, I'm just urging you once again, to get into the secret place, get into the kingdom of heaven, understand what God's plans is for you. And once you do that, guys, you will have an understanding of what the Bible really means. God is gathering his people, which is Israel. And when you think of Israel, don't think of one color, one type of race, all that different things, guys. When you think of Israel, guys, it says that in Revelation, he looked and he saw many people, tongues, and nations standing before the throne of God. And so we all have to live a righteous life. We all have to seek God's kingdom. We all have to know who God is in order to inherit this earth, guys. And so I urge you once again to get your lives in order, because the king is on his way. He's coming to separate the wheat from the tares, the sheep from the goats, guys. You know, the harvest is on its way, and when it's here, destruction will follow right after. It says that Jesus came down with a sickle in his hand. That sickle is what they use when they reap. Guys, God is not playing, and he's trying to prepare his people. God has a place, a wilderness, a place of hiding for his people. And I just want to give this to you guys and further break it down, and just to let you all know that we love you and we're all praying for you still. And we will see you in the next video. Hopefully me and my wife will be back. All right, we'll see you.